you know, everyone likes to relax with a nice cool drink over the summer, and so I brought with us the Lager Queen of Minnesota. It's the latest book by J. Ryan Stradal. He wrote The Kitchens of the Great Midwest back in 2015, which was just such a fun book about a young woman's journey through culinary traditions in the Midwest, all the way up until like really super modern cuisine. She just has this like really great talent, and she just, people pay $10,000, by the end of the book, people are paying like $10,000 for a plate in her restaurant. So it's a really fun book too. And it includes recipes, so that's always fun. So this one, The Lager Queen of Minnesota, is also, as the title suggests, set in Minnesota, the Midwest. This is where J. Ryan Stradal like sets his books. He's very familiar with the territory. And he actually came up with the idea for this novel while touring for The Kitchens of the Great Midwest. While he was going through the different book tour locations, he noticed how many breweries there were everywhere, and he just had no idea. Like, it seemed to have exploded overnight. Suddenly everyone's just brewing craft beer. And so he starts visiting these breweries and actually going in and talking to some of the brewers. And the research that he did while he was doing that tour just really comes through in the book. Like, I learned so much about about craft brewing, and I didn't realize how much went into it. And so our book starts with two sisters, Edith and Helen. Edith is she plays by the book. She does what she's supposed to do. She marries young. She marries the local farm boy, and she becomes his. And he begins to work as a trucker, and she supports him by baking really, really awesome pies for a nursing home. And she actually gains a little bit of notoriety for the quality of her pies and her baking. And then Helen, the second sister, kind of goes. She doesn't play by the book, but she becomes very interested very early on in beer, but not just like to drink it like teens, but to actually learn how it's made and the different qualities. So she goes off to college. She goes to study chemistry, and she remains very interested in brewing beer. And she actually meets a guy who's the heir to the Blatz beer industry in the Midwest, in Minnesota there. And so she marries him, and they go on to kind of build the Blatz beer empire. At the same time, Edith is still struggling to make ends meet after she's let go from the nursing home. She takes in her granddaughter, Diana, who also, almost simultaneously to Helen, begins to get interested in brewing beer. And so she starts off in the industry too, with a local brewery first, and then the local brewery is handed off to her, and she kind of builds her own empire. And the two come to a head at the end when Helen's getting into the IPAs. Diana's very good at brewing the IPAs, and so the estranged sisters come together when the two breweries have to compete for who's better. So it's just a really lovely, heartwarming tale. One of the things that Stradal does really well is his female characters, his women characters. He's very inspired by his own mother, whose hard work and perseverance, led her to go back to college in midlife to pursue a writing career after not actually being able to achieve that dream early on. And so his characters are complex. They don't wallow in their losses. They take it. They're very authentic. They move through it, and they pursue their goals. And so I just think it's just such a great story to relax with too. I mean, you can kind of overlook some of the coincidences that happen, like they happen to all brew beer, but you can overlook that for just the quality of the story. So I just really enjoyed it.